Okay. I think this is working. One of the things that we're going to uh, test today is whether or not uh, my lapel mic, lapel, yeah, that's it, can overcome the absolute insane roar of my RV overhead air conditioner, which is both extremely loud on a good day and like broken from the factory basically. A lot of RV hardware really sucks, like really bad. Things that are supposed to I'm like moving my stuff around here so that I have more room to sit. Uh, let's do, ow, that. Okay, let's not do that. Is that good? Yeah, that's fine. So, right. Where was I? Air conditioner. So, yeah, the situation is bad. It's I have not been able to actually like put the like overhead vents, like the thing that actually distributes the air out, right? With like the little louvers and what have you. Can't put that on it because if I do, it freezes because it can't get enough air pulled into the intakes, like going past the the evaporator. It just freezes every single time, which is terrible, but is very typical of like how badly designed and engineered RV hardware is. Uh, I have another thing that I would like to put into the Airstream, which obviously is where I am, which is a mini split unit, right? It's basically a 12 volt mini split unit that should, I think, work well for this. Much quieter, probably much more power efficient, etc. So we're gonna find out whether or not the audio works here. Uh, and I wonder also if I can distribute the link for this stream. We are going to find out. uh, is this doing anything? It is not clear that this is actually streaming at all. At least if you judge from YouTube. What happens if I go to home? No. If I, ooh, wait, okay, yes, this is working. Now I can see it. Folks, have we considered that YouTube kind of sucks? I'm just wondering. Anyway, let me give this to our friends in a couple of Discords and make sure that we've got this. And yeah, good stuff. Okay, I think that's working. Good. We have David. Excellent. We have Dr. Ling. That's fantastic. I'm very excited about that. All right. Oh my God, we've got Vlad. My second actual episode. And we have E-Ink royalty in the chat. I don't even know what to do with that. Airstreams are super cool for traveling and such. I've been living in this thing basically since COVID, for reasons that you probably can guess. I had been saying that I needed to move out of DC for a while. DC had really been like getting me down in a bunch of different ways, and I had an opportunity to do a new work thing in Austin, and so I was like, well, I've been saying I was going to do this for years. I might as well actually do it, and at the same time, I'm going to get really unconventional with the way I am living, and so I started doing this. In the interim, I have learned that the experiment with minimalism has been a spectacular failure. And I'm totally okay with that. I do not have enough room in here for basically anything. So I'm kind of done with this experiment, but I have to finish doing a bunch of like remodeling work and stuff that I've been working on for a while. So we're going to see how long that takes me, because it's been about 3 years now since I started doing that. So it's probably going to be a minute. I don't know. But I am also anxious to stop living in here. So yeah. But yes, thank you. That's my shirt, my ignore all previous instructions LLM shirt. But it is a great name for an album. That's very true. Yeah. So okay, I'm gonna get right into it. I mean, I'm lying. Obviously, I have not gotten right into it. It's now minute 6 since this broadcast started, so obviously I did not get right into it. But let's do what Rod does and start with the happies, right? Today, as it turns out, is World Irritable Bowel Disease Day. So if you weren't aware of that before, perhaps today is the day to become aware of it, I guess. It is very uncomfortable, and sometimes it can verge on life-threatening, actually, for the people who suffer from it. So it's actually not a laughing matter. It sucks real bad. Luckily, our friends in life science have various ways of tackling this disease now that they did not even 10 years ago. So that's actually kind of awesome. So let's hear it for World IBD Day. It's also Hepatitis Testing Day. If you might have hepatitis, this is a good, time to test. National Devil's Food Cake Day. I feel like I remember Rod talking about this one last year, which tells you something about how frequently I watched Rants About Tech. And Plant Something Day, which is presumably different from Arbor Day in ways that I'm not 100% clear on. But yeah. For minimalism, this is very interesting because Vlad is partially predicting what this stream is going to be about. What have been the top 5 essential items you can't live without? So I don't know that I can rattle all of that off at the top of my head, but I can tell you that one of the things that I have done that was a reaction to living in a space this small was I basically so I have at any given time I've got a group of servers that I run that do all of my like internet facing services. I do a lot of self-hosting of stuff off my internet connection. That was not something that was going to be sustainable to do inside an aluminum Twinkie. So I ended up taking that equipment and then putting it next door in the house that my landlord rents to the other folks, in there. This is actually a pretty big complex. There's not complex, big. I don't know. It's three distinct housing units. Mine, the back house, and then there's a front house. Austin is like this for whatever reason. I don't know why. Convenient for me though, because it means that I don't have to live in an RV park, and it's actually very comfortable. It's a very nice neighborhood, fun stuff around. So that's cool. But yeah, I host all my stuff in there in the laundry room because that was literally, I was like, I can't do without this. I depend on the stuff that I run in there too much to not have it, right? So that was one thing. One of the things I did like 4 years ago is like basically tear apart part of the not the undercarriage, but like the plumbing hardware and stuff, and permanently installed a dishwasher because I refuse to do dishes in this tiny sink. And if you've ever seen an RV sink, you understand why. It is a massive pain in the ass. I would not wish it on anybody. So plumbed the dishwasher directly into the water supply and then into the drain system, into the black water system, which is nice because I had a little extra bulk water to the black water system, which is good for everything. And yeah, that was another thing, was the dishwasher. Let's see. What else is in here that like well, there have been various complications involving refrigeration. I have a chest chest fridge, a very small chest fridge by my foot here, which is currently my only fridge, which is funny because my freezer is just fine. However, my actual fridge has a air circulation problem where it cannot run the refrigerator part. Freezer works great. The rest of it, not so much. Still have to fix that. Just yesterday, do I have it here? Yeah. Okay, now the air conditioner is kicked on. So you guys are going to have to tell me if you can still understand what I'm saying. Mark at 4:41 my time. So that's 11 minutes in. Was I still audible and understandable with the of the air conditioning above me? Is the question. Anyway, yesterday I got this part, which is a fan that plugs into the freezer section that will theoretically let me start using the refrigerator again. Everybody cross your fingers. We'll hope that turns out to be true. Those are the big things. Let's see. I mean, what else? Yeah, it's more just that, like, so for example, there are 2 snowboards here next to me because I have no place else to put them. I have a storage unit, and the storage unit has a bunch of stuff in it, but there are things that you do not want to allow to be constantly subject to the ravaging of the elements, right? And so you can't really put those in a storage unit, and so that becomes a problem. But there are more things I could say about the RV experience, TM, but we'll see. That might be the subject of a future video. In the meantime, I want to get to topic number 1, which is right here. So I got this case for my Palma 2 Pro. Actually, first, because it is after business hours for me, I will also note that once again I am drinking a beer. This is a Dragon's Milk Crimson Keep, which is fantastic. It's one of my favorite beers. Certainly that this brewery, is it New Holland or Goose Island? It's New Holland, I think. Yeah, produces. Just fabulous. It's a red ale. It's great. So I got this Palma 2 Pro case, and some of you may have seen it before. Let me go ahead and put it on camera here. So is that gonna work? Let's see. I think so. Yeah. Okay. So we got this right. So basically, what this does is it gives you a spot to put your device, kind of like slotted in like so, right? And then you close this, or you lock this in here, and then each one of these things then directly touches the buttons and will trigger the buttons for you, which is awesome. That's fantastic, because it lets you hold it like this and do page turning, right? It sort of turns it into a quasi Go Color 7, right? Or Go Color 7 Gen 2. The other thing it does, which is really critical for this device specifically, is this. So, pen, right? One of the biggest criticisms of this thing when it came out was that it had no, nowhere to store the pen, right? Pen works great, but there's nowhere to put it. Well, now you have that. So you can slot this bad boy in like this, and then it just sits there very comfortably. And actually, the magnet like turns it slightly. There's a magnet in here that grabs onto the magnet in the pen, and it turns it slightly such that the friction of the pen being turned somewhat helps keep it in there, which is great. Honestly, this is really good design. There are things I would change about it, which I would love to. And by the way, if anybody knows 3D printing, let's talk, because there are things I would definitely change about this. However, big problem is that I think this is just like whatever the tough, or not even tough, the hard filament is, right, that you print stuff out of. Oh, hang on one second. what's going on here. And we'll do this, probably. Yeah. Right. So whatever the filament is that this is made out of, also, it seems, happens to be kind of flimsy, or not flimsy, but brittle. Because this is like the bottom retaining clip, right? That sort of like keeps it in place. And you get this problem where it cracks basically right along where the, because like right here, I think is they put a gap for the speaker. You can kind of see that, right? And so like I tried to crazy glue this and I could not clamp it effectively enough, I think. But now this part has come apart. And this is so now what happens is if I put it in my pocket and I pull it back out, it gets caught on this and it splits worse. And I don't want to split it worse. So I have to find a better way to kind of bind this back together. Ideally, I would just print something new. But I don't know jack about 3D printing. So that's going to have to wait. But yeah. Anyway, so in general, I like the design of this thing. I think I probably would make it less X. Need to reinforce it with rebar. Yeah, I don't see what could possibly go wrong with that. You know, that plan. I think that would work great. But the what was I gonna say? Right. So I wish there were less X dimension. Right. I would trade the X dimension, like where the silo housing is, basically, like where where this is. I would put this under, if I could. I would put it like here. Also, this is unnecessary. Like there's like a grab me bump here, right? Like for traction or whatever. I don't find that to be particularly necessary. I would eliminate this. I would take the pen silo and basically put it on the back, such that you've got that nice little round bump to grab it by. And yeah, I would need, I guess, like the STL files or something in order to be able to do that. But in general, I like this idea. I wish there were more of these. I know Rod was talking about putting something like this together a while ago, and then it did not ultimately end up materializing. But yeah, it's cool. So Palma 2 Pro owners, you can find that thing on Etsy. I don't remember exactly what store it was in, but it's cool. So, okay. So that's that topic. The second one I wanted to get into, because, and this is, by the way, this is entirely Kit's fault. He made me think of it because I mean, it popped up in my feed, and so I was like, I guess I have to do one of those, even though I don't really know what I'm doing. So we are going to do a top 10 list. What are my top 10 devices? So there are a couple of constraints I'm placing on this question. Number one, I'm restricting it only to devices that I have owned, even if I no longer have them. Delicious. Even if I no longer have them, if I've sold them, and I've sold a lot of stuff, I've sold a lot of devices, because I'm just like, I don't use them. Aaron, what's up? Glad you're here. So, yeah, so I'm restricting it to that, to devices that I have used before. And one, books. Sort of. Two, listen. Just because you're right doesn't mean you're right, okay? So, whatever, man. But, yeah, so I'm restricting it only to devices I've owned, and I have to drop some off because I have more than 10, or I've had more than 10. I don't have more than 10 now. And I think I've made a pretty good argument as to why I dropped them off. So if you guys think I'm full of it, you're free to let me know. Scream at me in the comments. You know, send me emails threatening the cat I don't have. So something, I don't know, whatever. Just don't go crazy with it. So let's see where to start here. Okay. So I'm going to go back to this. Yeah. Okay. So these are all of the devices that I've owned at some point, right? So can I center that? Yeah. So this is everybody. There are a few that I've crossed off the list mostly because I thought that they were redundant or that they weren't super relevant in 2026. And I think that will be obvious why shortly here. So, first one I got rid of is a Tab Mini C. And thank you, David. Appreciate the acceleration there. So the first one that I got rid of is Tab Mini C. Not because I didn't like the Tab Mini C in various ways, but because, in fact, of all of them, I actually really appreciated the way that Tab Mini C rendered handwriting. For some reason, I just really liked the way it did, like, pressure recognition and stuff. Like, it always looked very sharp or elegant or something. I don't know why. It was just my perception. But I'm crossing it off here because it was very much an almost device. The Tab Mini C would have been perfect if it had been the forthcoming Note Mini C, I think, and had been significantly faster, or had been black and white, or both. I would have taken either one of those. There actually was a black and white version in China that we were not allowed to buy in the United States because they think the United States, or they think the international market doesn't want black and white. I don't get it. They really believe that. I don't understand why. But I'm crossing Tab Mini C off because it feels like, even when it was released in 2023, hey Robert, it was not great. It was Android 11. The industry had kind of marched past Android 11 even in 2023. All their other devices were Android 12. It had a Snapdragon 662 SoC, which meant it was just dog slow. It was so slow. It was just not a performer at all. I really hope the Note Mini C completely gets rid of that particular situation. I hope the Note Mini C is a Snapdragon 750G or better SoC, because that actually performs the way I need in 2026. Well, fingers crossed. But so I got rid of that one. I got rid of the Remarkable 2 because the Remarkable 2 was the device that got me away from Remarkable. I mean, it's not entirely fair to say that, right? I talked about this a little bit in my last live. The Remarkable 2 was the state of the art for Remarkable when, like, the dev community, the original dev community for Remarkable fell apart, right? And there was this situation with RM2FB not working anymore. That was the, like, graphics driver that let them, or graphics interface driver that let them, build apps that worked with the screen, etc. That stopped working. The development community fell apart, and I got fed up with the Remarkable 2 as a result. And so I'm just not going to talk about it because I would rank it at the bottom anyway. Everybody knows that. Yeah, it was a frustrating experience for me. The Nord Air 4C I'm getting rid of just because the Nord Air 5C is here now. And the 5C is strictly an upgrade over the 4C in every respect. There is no reason to buy a 4C if you can get a 5C. Maybe you might find a 4C for, like, deep discount somewhere, in which case, God bless, go forward, but I don't know. So I'm just sticking with the 5C for the list. The Go 10.3, in my opinion, has been completely superseded by the Go 10.3.2. I know some of you are EMR cultists. I used to also be an EMR cultist. I am no longer one because I have seen where I have received the good news of USI that actually works properly. And so now I am no longer an absolutist about EMR. And if you take away the EMR thing, there's basically no reason to really think about the Go 10.3 anymore. The Gen 2 is faster. In my opinion, it has a better screen. It has the front light if you go for that option. Just a better device in every respect. So there's that. And then finally, I got rid of the MobiScribe Wave, which is actually, it's funny because it's sitting in this cabinet up here. I have not touched it in I don't know how long. If somebody would like to check out my my MobiScribe Wave, let me know. Because yeah, I'm not going to use it anymore. Maybe somebody else would find a use for it. I don't know. Let's talk. So let's get Jay to buy a Pure. Jay already bought a Move, so that's probably not happening. Jay bought a Move because he went to go buy a Pure and then found out there was a 2-month waiting time, and I was like, no, not doing that. I had been waiting to to get into remarkable development after Mitchell kind of gave me a bunch of reasons to believe in that, and so I was like, all right, we're just going to do that. So I'll get a Move, and honestly, I like the Move. I do. That's the reason why it's on the list. So, yeah. Let's talk devices. Let's see if this works. I did some scripting for this today. We're going to find out. Okay. So, number 10. Yay, it works. Okay. Number 10 is the Go 7 for me. The Go 7, I would leave it off the list, honestly, because it was such a disappointment. However, it's a great reader. I can't fault it for that. It has shockingly little ghosting for what it is. It has no BSR, but they did something in, waveform management on the screen or something that makes the Go 7's display very clear, very crisp. It's a great reader. The handwriting experience on the Go 7, of course, has always been garbage. So, and the thing is, if they had just done with the Go 7 what they did with the Go 10.3 Gen 2, it would be one of my favorite devices ever. That's not an exaggeration. The Go 10.3 Gen 2 basically is a Go 7 with a larger screen. It has exactly the same chip, exactly the same memory. Maybe there's a difference in... Yeah, I think the 10.3 Gen 2 is UFS, whereas for whatever weird reason, the Go 7 is like, what is it again? eMMC, some flavor of eMMC. That's the storage technology underlying it. I never noticed a problem with storage on the Go 7, so I shrug. But, so yeah, the Go 7 was great in a lot of ways, and then it just let you down on the handwriting. Aaron has said that the Go 7's handwriting has gotten better. Aaron, of course, is Tech Trapper, found at, I'm going to remember this. I like, I'm so close. Let's see. It is, oh yeah, all I have to do is do this, right? No, that's a lie. I am going to get, this is what happens, number one, when you are prematurely senile, and number two, this happened to me before with Ed's channel. I could not remember Organizing for Change, and yeah, I just could not remember the name of it. Very, very sad. But this is going to come back to me. I can only remember Tech Trapper. Why is that? What's the number? Something Media. 2530. There it is. Okay. Much better. So go check out 2530 Media. Mitchell, that's interesting about the Remarkables. They're all eMMC. Okay. Okay. Yes, thank you, David. I finally remembered. Right. So the Go 7 turned out to be a disappointment in a lot of different ways. But it was sort of a harbinger or a marker for what was going to come, is my idea. So, just remember the elevation of Aaron's house in centimeters. This must be a reference to something I do not understand. Uh, I do not remember that at all. But okay. I'm, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it's not very high, because Houston. So yes. But moving on. Number 9. Okay, this is great. This is working exactly the way I wanted it to. It is keeping the other stuff on there and moving forward. Fantastic. So the Palma 2, I'm keeping separate from the Palma 2 Pro, even though the Palma 2 Pro is technically a successor, because it is black and white. It did have a very good quality screen for reading, and to some degree I miss that device. 2350 centimeters above sea level. It's not why Aaron chose it, but it's not that. That's what it means. Okay, guys, I have been meaning to ask Aaron that question for almost a year, I think, is when I originally thought of it. I was like, what is that? What 2530? What does that mean? What does that refer to? Thanks to Mitchell bringing this up, I now know. So he's not only a fantastic, remarkable developer, he's also a patch on my failing memory. So, awesome. Love it. Thank you very much. Okay, so back to the Palma 2. This should actually be much quicker than I'm dragging it out to be. It's on there because it was like the first compact e-ink device I ever got. And I'm glad my senility amuses you, Aaron. But it is. Oh, okay. I figured that was actually the reason, because what is 2350 centimeters? Like 2.3 meters, maybe, I guess. Which, okay, 6 feet. No, that's ish. Sure, why not? And it's plausible. That's entirely plausible. Anyway, so Palma 2, good device. Looked like a phone, wasn't a phone. Didn't even have a 5G radio, 4G radio, anything. But was great for reading. Was great for playing around with what you could do with Android apps on e-ink, right? That was like one of the things that made it cool. It was reasonably quick, had 6 gigs of RAM, unlike a lot of other devices, in that form factor. So generally, like, Palma 2, good device. Okay, number 8. If I was Mini, Weewood's Mini. It's going to take me forever to get that right. So I really like this device. However, it's down at 8 because their software just generally needs some help. Their decision to lock everything, lock all of your data inside of app data storage on Weewood software is not fantastic. It means that it's very difficult to get data, files, everything between applications. There are ways that you can get around this with AIDL and what's it? Content. What's it again? Content something content. I don't know. I can't remember. But there are ways to get around this. They don't use them well. They should really just do what Onyx did and put all of your first-party application data into /SD card into a directory, hide it if you must with a .dot file, and move on, right? But they don't, and I don't know why. They're like, oh, we're committed to user privacy. And it's like, guys, once you have the physical device, it's game over. Like, you know that, right? I don't know. So I like a lot of what they do with software. Their calendar is obviously really, really cool. The problem with the calendar is that it does not completely sync to things where it should. They should be doing some creative engineering to take stuff out of the calendar that's written in tasks and written. Why are there tasks and to-dos? Like, why are those two different things? Like, that doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of weird things in Weebooks that are just like, they just leave you like scratching your head. So yeah, that's the reason why it is as low as it is, even though I think it still has a lot of potential. Ed, welcome. Very glad to have you here. And okay. Number 7, remarkable Paper Pro move. It's true. It's on my list. It is higher than the WeWoods Mini, specifically because of the software ecosystem, right? I am not actively using this yet, but I will. As of right now, I can't integrate this with like my existing ecosystem of stuff, currently inclusive of books and Supernote. So like the adapters for Ultra Bridge that are vendor specific. I haven't written one for Remarkable yet. I will. So bear with me. It's going to get more interesting after that, I think. First, I'm working on a CalDev client. I talked about this yesterday. CalDev, what do you call it? CalDev tasks and eventually calendar. But I want to add the capability that that Dr. Ling is trying to get me to crack up on camera. But eventually, I want to add the capabilities that WeWoods has, where you can just like circle something and then turn it into a to-do or a calendar item on Remarkable. That's when I think things start to get powerful. But you say Remarkable does not have a calendar or to-do, app yet. I'm working on it, so stay tuned. All right, 7, I think. No, we're on 7. 6, I can count, I swear to God. Supernote Nomad. So I've really enjoyed working with this. Doing the integration work with Ultra Bridge for that has been really satisfying. That's been very cool. The Nomad has a lot of really cool built-in features that I've come to really appreciate. The fact that they were like Johnny on the spot with the like circle to task and circle to calendar item thing way long time ago was great, I think. It's exactly where you want to be with that. There are things that I've discovered in the private cloud software, which I, again, think is fantastic, by the way, that don't make a lot of sense to me. Like, for example, when you create a to-do item, it goes into the database in private cloud, so you can see what happens, right? And the schema in that database that describes to-dos is basically exactly like RFC compliant CalDAV to-dos with all of the like fields that you would normally use for that, like recurrence and stuff like that. Yeah, it's weird because they didn't implement a bunch of that other stuff. They didn't implement recurrence. They didn't implement. It's all there, but they never did anything with it, and I don't know why. Maybe that's planned, but I feel like it's been like that for a long time. And they never, for example, built their own bridge to CalDAV for tasks, which like I did that with Ultra Bridge, right? It was part of the reason Ultra Bridge came into being. But yeah. So, but it's on the list here in the middle because of exactly that, because of the fact that they have done so much cool stuff, and so much more cool stuff is coming down the pike with the advent of plugins and everything else. Is the move my first Gallery 3? Yes. My thoughts on it versus Kaleido are it is no contest. I'm pretty much on the record as saying that Kaleido is le garbage. Kaleido is something that I put up with on devices in order to have other features which manufacturers inevitably reserve for color devices instead of black and white devices. I would much, much, much rather have Carta 1300 black and white than Kaleido 3 on basically anything. I don't find color to be all that useful for the most part. However, that said, for the purposes of note-taking and, like things related to note-taking, probably art as well, to me, there's no contest. Gallery 3 is much, much better. Yeah, it's exactly right. The Gallery 3 contest wins, Gallery 3 contrast wins it for me every single time with respect to Kaleido 3. I would still rather have Kaleido 1300 for the most part. So would I get a pure? Maybe. I don't know. You know, it depends on whether or not, like, when I'm done developing for this, if I find it that much, if I find it that useful, maybe I would get a pure. I don't know. So we'll see. But it's not out of the question. So Dr. Ling, you may get your wish. Yeah, I mean, like, that's what I posted last night in the Rants About Tech Discord. Like, I keep looking at this when I'm like sitting in. I'm not in a place where it's like super bright right now. But when I'm sitting under like office lighting, I keep looking at this and being like, oh, I must have left the front light on. But no, I didn't. No, that's just what it looks like. Which, very impressive. Very impressive. Like, if somebody could figure out how to get this to refresh faster, and, with less, like, pee-pee ghosting all over the screen. Although this doesn't really have as much of a problem with that as say, like the Pro does, from what I can see. But if they could do that, then that might be enough to get me to be like, you know what, screw it. Yeah, let's just do color, because why not? Because the contrast on this with the front light off for black and white applications or for whatever is good enough that I don't care. Like, I don't need Kaleido 1300 after that. So I generally lean toward black and white anyway, but yeah. I too have a but. Relevant to our earlier discussion, Space Duster, about irritable bowel disease day. So yes. Right, marching on. 5. 5 is the Palma 2 Pro. This is one of my favorite devices ever, no question. I find myself reaching for this thing all the time. I use it for quick notes. I use it for, I need to get in the config for the smooth scroll. Yes, you do, actually. Yes, that would be fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, I think if you took this panel and you did interesting things with it, such that you could tell it, hey, operate in black and white mode, right? For some applications, and for other applications, operate in color mode. So, like, operate in color for notes. But if, for example, you built an Android device out of this, operate in black and white for app usage. Now you've got something there, right? Because I've seen the way that this thing can scroll and the way that this thing can update when it's just doing black and white, thanks to Mitchell. There's possibility there. Why no one else has taken advantage of it, I can't answer. But, yeah. So Palma 2 Pro, love it. I've used it for lots and lots and lots of things. A lot of, like, outdoor applications, actually, for working with Meshtastic and Meshcore radios. And, yeah, big fan. Again, would have preferred a black and white version. We didn't get to have that in the international market. China did, but their black and white version, for whatever reason, also did not have a pen digitizer. Again, weird-ass decisions associated. It also had 6 gigs of RAM instead of 8. Why? Why are these things connected? I don't understand. But yeah, big fan of Palma 2 Pro. Use it for lots of stuff. Use it to catch up on Discord. Use it to catch up on Reddit. Use it to, to do notes and reading very extensively as a reader, actually. So I'm actually using it for, like, the theoretical main use case. Go figure. But yeah, great device. Number 4, Noder 5C. The main reason I have this device is because it's their flagship. It gets everything first. It is a great all-arounder. However, it is not my favorite all-arounder. Giving you a little bit of a preview there. Also, I'm going to have to go soon. Oh, well. But, yeah. Noder 5C, reasonably quick, has the keyboard case option, good quality, probably like some of the best quality you can get out of Kaleido 3, which is like, eh, right? I mean, you know, let's, here she is. Why did you turn, oh, I never turned you back on, did I? Okay, sorry. There we go. But, you know, reasonably good quality Kaleido 3, reasonably quick, does anything I ask of it for the most part. I'm not passionate about the Nonary 5C, but I recognize that it's like a very capable device. It's the thing I end up recommending to people when they want to get started with something and they're like dead sure that they definitely want Kaleido 3. Yes, so to whatever degree this exists, which I don't actually know what the answer to that is, I think it has some kind of slightly advanced Kaleido 3. Like Dr. Ling just called it a 3.1. I think it might be Carta 1300 based. I'll show you the reason why. So if I go in here and I go here, oh wait, no, this doesn't have it. No, this just says Tcon B. I think this is the same type of panel that you get in the Palma 2 Pro, and the Palma 2 Pro has this. Come on, almost there. Yeah, okay. So if you look at the Onyx EPD, like, I guess, string? Something? We can't really see that. I could refocus, but I'm too lazy. It says, so Onyx EPD here says MXO 1300 and then a dash, and then some, like, hexadecimal stuff, right? So, like, this is, I think this is Carta 1300 based. I think it's 1300, like in the black and white layer, and then the the CFA filter on the top of that. So I don't know, but yeah, 3. Go 10.32. Honestly, this is like, so this list is subject to change, right? But this is rapidly turning into one of my favorite devices ever. It is just fast enough that it doesn't frustrate me. It is like impressively powerful in that respect. I'm just gonna do like a thing here to make this do good stuff. Yes. Why do I have a line across my display? That's bad. Okay. Yeah, good. Good, really good device. They've done a really good job with it. I am amazed at how good this writing is. You know, like, can I do that? Yeah. I mean, this is way better than USI has any right to be. That's all there is to it. So yeah, I have really enjoyed using this thing. I reach for it constantly at work. It's just been generally fantastic. So there's that. The next one is a little bit complicated because it is the Note Max, which in just about every respect I love, apart from the ghosting, which I'm 99% sure I've identified why it's happening. I don't think there was any real way that they could have permanently gotten rid of it. I understand, like, maybe the 4.2 firmware update on the Note Max might have reduced the ghosting a little bit more. 4.1.1 definitely got rid of some of the ghosting. But there's a limit to what you can do with, like, the built-in electrophoretic display controller. So Yeah. Um, the ghosting did get to me. The other thing about the Note Max that started to get to me was the battery life. Giving that device, which has an enormous screen to do updates on, plus BSR, plus a Snapdragon 855 SoC, all of those things are huge drains on the battery. And if you ask it to do anything that like makes the Note Max, like do something performance related, do something to take my data from the Notes app and then put it into okay, that's good to know. Thanks, CJ. Is that like Rants About Tech CJ, or is that a different CJ, by the way? Let us know. So yeah, words. So the ghosting continues to be something of a problem. And the battery life on it is just not that great. It is a fantastic first-ish attempt, right? Like the Note Max is like an order of magnitude better device than the Tab XC was, even during the Tab XC's time, right? Certainly better than the Max Lumis. Okay, solid. So yeah, I give the Note Max a lot of credit for being as awesome as it is. I sold it after being like the world's biggest Note Max booster, mostly because the battery started to get drained down really, really fast. And on top of that, I then did the firmware teardown of Onyx's firmware, and was like, oh, there's going to be a Gen 2 at some point in the near-term future, so bye! So it went on eBay. I don't know when that's happening, probably the end of the year. The timing controller problem that caused the problems with the original Note Max has been resolved for the new panel that they're going to put in, which is going to be the same panel that iFlyTech uses in their 13-inch device in China that we don't get to use yet for whatever reason. iFlyTech has not seen fit to bring it here. But iFlyTech is sending me an AI Note 2 to evaluate, which is kind of cool. I have like clout now, something, I don't know. But I'm very excited about that. I'll be excited to do deep dives into their software. I'll be excited to see just all the stuff that iFlyTech does, that people have been gushing about. So yeah, but that's the Note Max for me. And then we get into my personal GOAT so far, right? Which is the Tab Ultra C Pro, which is one of the finest devices I have ever used in my life. I love this thing. I was tempted to drop an F-bomb there, but I didn't do it, so please clap. This is, literally, this is one of my favorite devices ever. The Kaleido is not that dark, which is great. I can use this with the light off. Like this is, okay, poor lighting in here right now. This is what it looks like with the light off, right? This is legible, at the very least. I mean, I've got some very tiny text here, so, but I mean, that's why. It's because that's fine for me. If you turn the light on, it's very bright, right? And yeah, I mean, I love this thing. It is lightning fast. Anything I have ever asked of it, it has been able to do, without breaking a sweat. Just in general, this thing is fantastic. And this is from 2023, and it is still kicking ass. Like, that's amazing. Got to put it through the Voya DAF. Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any real, takes on Voya's DAF yet. I mean, he clearly does, real measurements. So, Hey Sharon, we're about to end, so I'm sorry, but we'll be we'll be back at some point. Um, but yeah, 55 minutes again. Like, how did I do that? I have no idea how I did that. Anyway, that's my top 10. If you have like huge disagreements about this with me, feel free to post them in the comments. I guess now that I'm doing this on a semi-regular basis, I have to say like and subscribe. That feels weird. I don't know, I'll get over it. It's fine. Anyway, so and thank you. Yeah, that's great, Sharon. By all means. Also, I'm just very happy with how this effect worked out, right? And I can take that back there. Maybe in the future, just because of the fact that like that door is super bright, I might like. I don't know. I tried to make it better by putting this background, and why did you lose respect for me? What are you talking about? Oh, because of the like and subscribe thing. Yeah, okay, fair. I've also lost respect for myself. That's okay. Anyway, yeah. Thanks everybody for showing up and saying hi, and we'll be back at some point soon. So take care of each other. Much love.